Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on December 19th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So some of the data that came out here, we saw the inflation numbers here for UK were positive, but some of the actual core CPI numbers, they were negative here. And then Canada here, CPI numbers were, the median CPI number here overall was positive. The data that just came out in the Asian session here, we see that GDP numbers for New Zealand were positive, but the trade balance numbers were negative here, and we have seen a New Zealand dollar go up and down. But the data for Australian dollar was positive, and on that, we have seen Australian dollar go up as a result. Now, coming up here, we do have Bank of Japan monetary policy statement, and in this case here, basically, if Bank of Japan holds the monetary policy the way it is, I would not expect much change. However, if they start talking about easing monetary policy and supporting the economy, and they start expressing concerns about the economy, that could have a negative impact on yen, and we could see yen crosses go up as a result because Japanese yen would weaken. Coming up on Thursday here, we have retail sales numbers out of UK here. We have also Bank of England monetary policy statement. So at this point, we are expecting everything to stay the way it is, stay the same. And if that's the case, we should not see much of a change in British pound. However, should something change, if there is something that's unexpected if something unexpected comes up, then we are likely to see volatility in British pound as a result of that. We also have EDP non-farm employment numbers for Canada. We have Philly Fed manufacturing index numbers. But other than that, nothing that is critical here in terms of data. However, when we see that there isn't a lot of data that comes out, prices can still move around, especially right now because the liquidity in the market is low, because a lot of traders are away. They have started going away for the holidays, so liquidity tends to dry up in December. Not too many people are taking huge trades, so prices can really become volatile and move around, so keep that in mind. Let's go on to our charts here, and we'll take a look. For euro, we'll start off with euro dollar here. So for euro dollar, we see that price has dropped right into our first target here that we set yesterday. So we do have a bearish candle close. But if you take a look at this one here, we did have a nice bearish candle here as well, but price failed to drop below the support resistance level. So that's what we'll have to keep an eye on. So first, I would look for a bit of a pullback here into potentially into 1.1140. And if you only get a small pullback, that would be into 1.1130. So around 1.1130 to about 40, that's where I would look for a potential pullback, and then a drop here. So if price does not drop below the support level, then we could see it go back towards the top of the range here. So that's something we have to be mindful of. But once we see the price drop through the support, then we're looking for the next target here at 1.1070. So bias here is to the downside for euro dollar, but with caution here. Pound dollar here, we saw that price had dropped. Now at this point, our candle is smaller than it was yesterday. So it looks like momentum is going out of the market. So keep an eye on that. Now we could get a pullback into 1.310 or 1.3120 and then a drop. So that's something to keep in mind. So bias here is to the downside still. Next target is 1.3020. So bearish bias for pound dollar as well. Aussie dollar here, this one, we did have a neutral candle close for the day, but now we see that price has pulled back into this previous support resistance area. At this point, if it stays below 0.6880, then I would look for price to drop further. However, if it goes through the resistance here, then it could go higher into 0.6920. But as long as it stays below 0.6880, I would look for a drop towards a bottom of today's candle here, which is 0.6840. So bias at this point is neutral for Australian dollar, and we just need to see if price decides to hold below 0.6880 or does it want to go through. And with either one, we have the target lower, or if it goes through the resistance, then we have a higher target. So neutral bias for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, this one dropped and then it has gone up here as well. So we have a neutral candle close at this point. So our bias for this one is neutral as well. Now, which means that I'm looking for price to trade within this range that it's been trading in. And right now, so this is 0.6550 in the bottom, 0.6620 in the top here. So I'm looking for price to trade within those levels. Now, should it hold above 0.6550, then this could go higher, and it could even go all the way into 0.6635. So keep an eye on this. Right now, the bias is neutral for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, we saw a drop like we were expecting yesterday. So bias here is bearish, looking for a further move to the downside. In terms of the pullback, we could get a pullback into 1.3120 and then a drop. 1.3080 is the target to the downside here. So our bias is bearish for dollar CAD. Let's take a look at our commodities here. Silver here, we have a neutral candle close. It is hitting this resistance here. So in this case, still neutral bias here for several days. It's been just sitting there right into resistance, but not being able to break it. So at this point, still neutral bias. Now, should it manage to get through, then I would look for 1730 and 1765. For now, though, bias is neutral. And as long as it keeps rejecting the resistance, chances are become higher, then it will come down. But for now, bias is neutral for silver, still looking for it to trade in this range. Gold here, gold is doing the same thing. We have a neutral candle close for today. It's pushing into the resistance, but not able to break through. At this point, still holding on to that neutral bias. And once it does break through, looking for 1493 level here, or 1494. But if it stays below 1480, still looking for that drop. So right now, bias is neutral for gold. Oil here, oil did push higher, but the pin on the top there is getting bigger. So we could see a reversal here. What I'm looking for is a retest here of 61. If it stays below 61, then I will look for 60 as the next target. But should it go through 61, 61.50 will be the target to the upside here. So bias here is neutral. It hasn't turned yet. But it is it's losing momentum because we are starting to see, we're seeing more and more pins are getting bigger on the top, so it is losing momentum. But for now, bias is neutral for oil. Copper here, copper is still stuck in this range, so neutral bias here. As long as it holds below 2.77, I will look for a move lower into 2.72. So neutral bias here for copper. But if it does break through the resistance here, then this one could go higher into 2.81. But for now, we need to watch what happens at 2.77. If it holds below, I will look for a move lower towards 2.72. Bitcoin here, Bitcoin made a big move to the upside. It wasn't able to break the support that we had talked about here yesterday. And as a result, we have seen a move up. Now, it is still trading in a range here. It's back into this resistance. So if it doesn't get through 7,400, it could come back down towards 6,500. So for now, bias is neutral. If it holds below 7,400, I'm looking for a drop. S&P 500. So this is interesting as well. So similar move here, gold, silver, indices here, kind of waiting to see what happens. We still haven't seen that US and China, any kind of signing of the trade deal. There have been no more kind of comments on it, or we haven't seen what's included in it. So as a result, market is just waiting. Now it is pushing into the resistance. So if it stays below 3,200, we're looking for a drop. But if it goes through 3,200, then there is room to the upside. 3,240, it would be the next target here. So for now, my bias is neutral for S&P 500. I think this one could move in either direction. Nasdaq here, same thing. It tried to break through the resistance, but still holding there. It hasn't been able to break it yet. So if it holds below 85, 8,600, then I'm looking for a drop. Should it go through the 8,600 level though, then I would look at 8650 level. That will be the next target. For now though, as long as it stays below 86, there is that room to drop. So Nasdaq, neutral as well. This one as well, Dow Jones, also neutral. It's been holding there. It hasn't been able to move beyond 28,340. So as long as it stays below that level, I'm looking for a drop towards 28,000. So right now, bias is neutral for Dow Jones as well. DAX here, DAX, yesterday we were looking for a drop. We got that drop, so bias is bearish. It's back into this range, looking for a further drop towards 13,000. So bearish bias for DAX here. FTSE here, this one, we had a bullish candle close for the day here, but it's into resistance. So my bias here is neutral. If it doesn't break the resistance, this one could drop here, but should it go through the resistance, there is room to the upside. And we're looking at 7,600 as the next target. So bias is neutral here. And then we have Nikkei here. Nikkei is looking bearish. We do have a bearish candle close. So looking for a drop here. Next target is 23,780 and then 23,600. So bearish bias here for Nikkei. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.